Tim and Mark are on Zoom.
Kim and Mark are on Zoom.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:32. For Stephen? Yes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, thank you.
Welcome. Welcome, Kim. I understand you're on Zoom as well.
Yes, I am.
Approval of minutes, motion for regular meeting, May 28th, 2026.
So moved.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion on them? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? So moved. Minutes for the special meeting, informational session, June 25th, 2026. Motion to approve?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Matt?
I'll give you a break.
Any discussion on those? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So moved. All right, public comment. Hey, everybody. You can do that now? Sure.
Or later. So 2 items for official correspondence later, but you are most welcome if you want certainly to do it now. The 2 items for public correspondence that I was going to broach later are a letter received from the Falls Village Housing Trust that was sent on. I would like to read into the minutes.
Yes.
If you want to do it now.
And then we have another one, and then we're gonna kind of discuss it if you want to wait till the end, but if you want to do it now, you're welcome. Okay.
We do both before and at the end, depending on everyone's level of work.
So exciting, we'll cover it everywhere. Anyone else? Moving along, public hearing. We will open the public hearing for the text amendment, or no, we're continuing.
It is a continuation.
We are continuing the public hearing for the text amendment concerning accessory dwelling units. Janelle, you wanna?
Yeah, Chairman, for the record, the public ad was printed twice in pursuant to state statute. And if you care that I read it, legal notice is hereby given that on Thursday, July 23rd at 6:30 in the town of Canaan, Falls Village Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on the following: consideration of a zoning regulation text amendment that would update the regulation regarding accessory dwelling units, accessory apartments. This meeting will be held in the Falls Village Town Hall, located at 108 Main Street, Falls Village, and also on Zoom. Complete text proposal will be available in the office of the town clerk at least 10 days in advance of the hearing. And then I guess just in brief, this is a commission petition text amendment. It's in keeping with the implementation of the town plan of conservation and development. This has been reviewed very recently in May, updated for July, and in brief, it's allowing accessory dwelling units by zoning permits in all zones, all residential zones. And it's defining them very simply as an accessory apartment or an accessory dwelling unit. ADU is a second dwelling unit on a property which is clearly accessory in size to the principal dwelling, complete independent living unit with provisions within for cooking, eating, sanitation, sleeping, and living activities, and then maintains access to enter and exit if attached, which is separate and distinct from the primary dwelling unit. This is out of a need for clarification of some of the existing regulations, and then of course for implementation of the plan of conservation and development to enable housing throughout town in a more simplified manner.
Thank you, Janelle.
You're welcome.
Any discussion on that from members? Thank you for your work on this, Janelle. Just for everybody here that we've had an ADU, but we've cleaned it up, made it simpler for people that would like to partake in that to hopefully help with housing in Falls Village. Nobody else has a comment? Does anybody, actually it's a public hearing, so just open. So if there's nothing within the commission, anything from the public? Any comments? Any questions? Chris, are you awake?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Hearing none, motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Is there a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. There, so we close that. We'll go to new business. Surprise, let's talk about the accessory dwelling units text amendment. So we could have more discussion on top of what we already haven't had. Or we could, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Oh, make a motion.
I moved.
So.
What is the motion for?
To approve the text amendment.
Oh, to approve
As
that.
presented.
As presented.
Hmm.
And I,
Is there a second on that?
Second,
Thank you, Mark. Discussion, just for clarity, Janelle, after assuming this will be approved, what are the next steps?
Effective date?
Oh, yeah, so I think, Matt, you put an effective date on there of, do we need 30 days?
The first of the month is adequate.
of August 1st.
That's what I thought I heard you say.
I stumbled a little bit. I trailed off, so. But yes, August 1st.
And that's good, you like it?
Yeah.
Good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Abstain? So carried. Oh, actually, public hearing, we have to go individual vote, is that correct? I think we have to go individual
It's
vote.
unique to Falls Village, but you can continue in the manner that you're used to.
So we'll go individual. Doug,
Yes, aye.
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
Colleen,
Aye.
Matt. Mark,
yep, you're allowed.
can you, we're just re-voting on this individually, use aye, nay, or abstain?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Greg, aye. Thank you. Unanimous. Okay, next on our agenda, moving on quickly. Re-subdivision, Aspen Hill Road.
Quick question for the applicant. I do have a map with me. Are you giving us a revised map?
Yes, there's just that their date correction on it, but it's basically the same.
That I appreciate.
It's basically the same, there's nothing substantial has changed, it's like. I got a couple copies, I don't know if you want. I'm trying to read it curls, though. Just. It's not right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to tell them, this is the. With the
Don't worry.
original.
If anybody wants to come up, feel free.
Do you have an update to the cover letter that I can retain? Like that?
You got it, or anybody else wants to?
Yeah.
And it's also got those soils data in there and,
I'm gonna try to skim this very quickly.
and also the, yeah.
Hello, how are you?
So,
Okay, so this is existing conditions. There's currently 2 lots, 4A and 11A, making up 85-ish acres, 85.7,
We'll let you go with 85.
85.7, 85.7.
Yeah,
A lot of land,
you got it.
good amount of land. So this is currently 2 lots. We are proposing taking the 2 lots and turning it into 3 lots. So I want to flip to the next page. So 4A is going to be expanded upon by adding a chunk of the 11A to it to create a 28-acre lot from the 6-acre original lot, creating a 28-acre by expanding out there. And then 11, the rest of 11C will be A will be split into 11B and 11C.
So there's no more A.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got it.
And this is the common.
So we
Or the,
The-
you call it common, but.
share, yeah, the rear
shared.
lot, or the access way to the rear lot. This lot has a 200-foot frontage along it, and then there'll be an easement across, a right of way across it in favor of this lot, the rear lot. Got our open space on each of the lots for a total of 15.01% of the lot area of the two lots.
And is that ownership being retained by the individual lot
Yeah,
owners
it'll be just be a,
within the subdivision?
yes,
And this is not for sale yet.
correct. There's a potential buyer for this once this is complete.
I'm the owner. I can speak to any questions here. Keith Van Moore. Nice to meet you.
Hey,
Thank
welcome.
you.
The neighbor who's over here,
This
McCarthy, is interested in basically preserving this to be forest. Ultimately, it would not surprise me even a little bit if if some of it became conservation land.
Do you want to continue on? And then
Yeah.
I might have a few dozen questions.
Okay. Also have our site plan. Sorry, that one. Site plans also got our soils data on it. They have area here, it slopes over 15%. Soils are on here. One of the questions that was risen in the review was asking about wetlands. Because the GIS shows a stream coming up through here. All the soil types, if you look at the soils data on the next page there, it'll list off the soil types. They're also up here as well. But they're all sandy loam soils. There's no soils indicative of wetlands. I've also walked where it shows the stream. There is no, it's not even seasonal water course. There's no leaf movement. There's nothing all through that whole area. There is a lower area of the topography, but there's no indication that it, with all the sandy soils out there, there's no indication that the water flows through there in any volume to even move the waves.
Even like a seasonal water staining.
No, that like I look, I see them all the time. You get the water courses that when the heavy rains come, but you see leaves move, you see, disturbance. I got my GPS out, followed the GIS course of it, and there is a lower area that you would, if you were just taking in an aerial, the LiDAR and drawing out what could be a water course, it could show up that way, but there was no noticeable leaf litter movement, no anything that would indicate.
Now, as the owner, did you go ahead of him and put out a fresh leaf?
A pretty big area to cover.
No intermittent, no
intermittent
indication of
water course.
intermittent or vegetation.
Yeah, I walked the whole thing. My employee also, he was doing all the survey work out here. He walked the whole thing and didn't see any indication. But I went out there purposely this week after my conversation with Joe, and I kind of walked the whole. It's right about in here is where the GIS shows a
Didn't
water
it-
course.
Did it not show it coming right off into the? I'm sorry. Is this the Timolot property, or am I going wrong?
Timolot, they wrap around here, like
So
it shows it kind of coming
as
down.
we recall, okay, I was also it's skewed from
It's
what
skewed,
I saw.
yeah,
I'm
it's-
not walking away, I'm just
You can walk
looking
away.
at
At the
the
map,
official.
yeah, so it kind of
So
comes like
They had, if you recall, in a public hearing,
yeah,
mentioned that it was a concern of theirs.
yeah.
So I guess it would be up this is steep slope.
Yeah.
You said.
This is some
So
steep
it must
slope,
have been kind of coming through here from what their testimony.
they're just I think what the map shows is kind of through here, and I
That's a
walked all
gully
through.
going
It's a kind of a
that
gully
way.
going down, So probably in the heavy storms, some water. It's a big mountain,
Yeah.
so water is going to move down there. But there was no indication that it was concentrated into one.
Yeah.
Into one and we had the rains. When I was out there this week. What do we have the rain on Saturday? We had the big storm come through.
Yeah.
I was out there Monday, so I was out there 2 days later, and there was no indication of washing out or anything, that you would see if the water
Really running.
is running through an area,
With,
Do you have the full topo on, I just follow this at the.
It should have been something happened with the print because that is supposed to be on here.
Oh, maybe right here.
Well, that's on each lot. Does the copy that I printed, I went through and made these changes, and I wonder if something, the copy that I gave you, does that have it?
About just.
Because I think when I reprinted it, something didn't come out, because all the topo line numbers are there.
I just wanna make sure there's no obvious.
Yeah.
So it's on the other
Yeah.
side of the hill. They're having that water from
Actually-
here, it's gonna go down into this. The time is like right here.
There we go, they're showing up, I don't know what happened with the print, it just, something happened. with-
That's just helpful to look and see if there's a low point.
Yes, there is kind of a low, you can see this, but I walked all through there. We went through and did the boundary, and we went all the way through here, and there's low spots through here.
So the natural.
Natural
water.
water flow is going to come down through there.
And then it kind of,
So go to Tim Watts, it must have followed like this little ridge here-ish.
Yeah, like naturally it would flow here.
No, I guess
This
we got
is
two
this would
different
be,
directions.
this would flow down through here. It's the natural flow
Oh,
of
so
things.
it's gonna go through there.
Then they are downhill of this entire area, so they are going to get
So that's
water
all.
off the hillside.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I was, with Janelle when we saw it on GIS, so that's.
Yeah.
that's
No,
why I brought
it's
it up.
completely understandable, and I saw every time I looked at them, I'm like, the stream doesn't exist that they're showing on here.
Do you mind, Shuki, just using, so this is sort of a soil survey, it's a little bit.
Yep.
But just orienting us to.
right.
This, and I know it's not as easy as I thought, because there's no lots on here,
No, but I could.
well, so I'm just trying to use the mountains,
I just try to see what roads are.
there's nothing that's.
road, that's sure.
Sorry.
Questions here. Oh, get come here.
Settle in.
Could be down in.
Or that, yeah.
Big mountain, well,
If you want to go.
Oh, wait, no, what is that?
That's just.
Oh, no, this.
I think we're here. I don't think it was a, yeah, the state true.
Oh, okay.
We're.
This one, oh, yeah.
At the north.
I'm gonna assume he's by your. This guy,
I think.
Is this a bot?
Murphy, I think that neighbor
Sandy Little, we got.
has it. Like that.
that's not him. Oh, no, he owns this land.
Yeah, here's this.
Okay.
I think that you
Yeah.
are.
Sure.
Probably-
Would be here.
Yeah, Libby's there.
This guy,
Wing out, we got- so we got.
The McCarthy guy was
Canton and Charleston find Sandy. Canton and Charleston find Sandy, different slope.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably
Charleston
close.
finds Sandy Little, but
If there's the case, he wants
And
this
check
land.
and check you.
Here it is.
My question is
Sandy
about
Ground.
the shared drive,
For all.
right? And I
Sandy
look at
ground.
the subdivision regulations, because I thought it said.
The soil tests indicate that and the soil maps indicate.
So if this is going to be McCarthy land, then why doesn't this lot
Sorry,
have
that's all that.
50 feet? And then this lot had 50 feet off this draw. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I don't think, they don't know if that's gonna
Alright.
happen.
So,
And that could be-
You know, it's
But
not.
make the
all the
easement
houses that are shown on here are,
this
they're,
one.
these are lots of to be sold
In-
off, so
in-
they're
in-
just
With
showing
the idea that that's
feasibility.
gonna happen.
The houses, the driveways, all that is feasibility because,
Did you
You
have
know.
questions for the applicant?
Don't
Don't be
she
shy,
might.
don't be shy. Do you have questions
Kathy
for the
might.
applicant?
So, yeah, just kind of talking about the access, right? The main
Yeah.
access drive, shared drive, however you want to call it. I guess if you're thinking that this lot, right? So this
Yeah.
lot might be part of, or might be taken over by McCarthy.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you set it up so that the easement is on that lot? Right, and then if that is the case, then the two lots that you're building on don't have a shared drive, right? They have unique drives. Why wouldn't you set it up that way?
we don't know what McCarthy could want to do with this. He's buying. I don't know that. For one, we're not 100% sure that he's buying it, but
Okay.
most likely he will. But also at the same time, they could want to develop it later as a house, so it doesn't really play.
Mhm.
I can also speak to that. We were going to, we still might. If McCarthy doesn't buy the lot, this is my favorite of all the lots. And I've spent, it's been like one of my recreations, perhaps, take the dog on these extraordinary 4-hour loops through here. And the views all through this entire area are majestic. The elevation is unbelievable. I think it's the best lot out there.
Mhm.
And so one of the reasons for that driveway being where it is if we were to build there, Jason and myself, we would take that lot and we would want to control, frankly, how beautified that driveway is in. We want it to be cut narrowly, pea stone, to have a few visible markings. And that just gave us control, frankly, if the neighbor doesn't ultimately buy it.
Thank you for your straightforward answer.
Of course.
So like I said, we've got Torrington Area Health approval.
I
That's the
see
last
that.
page of the
Thank you.
narrative.
Will you be able to send me a digital copy of this?
Yeah.
Great.
So that they approve feasibility on each of these. If they were to be developed, they'd have to go back to Torrington Area Health for final approval once we had house plans and everything else. And like I said, the houses could be put someplace else. They'd have to come for a zoning permit if they once they go to develop these. So right now we're just showing that they can be built on. The person might want to build somewhere completely different if they, so
Are these now into,
yes,
or stamped and signed?
yes,
The whole
stamped
nine?
and signed and block. No, this guy could get Yep, sorry.
Good, I feel it.
Feel that they're all.
It's an apology.
Yeah, this is the.
Thank
They're all
you.
stamped.
I don't know.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And you got my persnickety comment about the revised date because
Yes.
this was
Yeah.
already reviewed.
Ju-
Great.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they're now June
Thank
of
you.
25 with a revision of July of 26.
With an embossed stamp.
With embossed stamp, you can feel it.
Thank you for that.
Janelle has been so helpful and collaborative through the process. I'm very grateful too.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So,
It's just that we didn't, this put one out on there. So movement.
it's my I may be confused, so I guess maybe let me know. Is this been logged, cleared? Or at least sections of it cleared?
Sections of it.
Yeah, preliminarily there was some work done in here on 4 around the drive, and there was some clearing in here. The logger originally was sent in to basically clear existing logging roads, and one of my business partners who was enthusiastic thought, oh, if I drop a couple of trees, I can see the view. How good is the view? Maybe we build some substantial houses on this, and that was without my enthusiasm. So there's no more logging happening.
Okay. So am I hearing you that it may have gone a little bit bigger scope than maybe the original plan?
No, just outside of the, basically, he had a logger
Oh, he was still in.
follow the logging road.
Just in this section?
Yes.
What was the time frame on that? I'm just trying to think, because I stalk the property on occasion, and I do take a ride out that way.
I think it was, fall time? When was this, when did the logger would be in there?
In the last 2 months.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, springtime.
Yeah.
Yes, full time.
Yes.
You meant springtime.
I actually was thinking springtime.
Time's
But this driveway is following basically the old logging road that was there
Yeah.
2 years ago when we were out there, so it's not following the news. This part through here is different. The old logging road went on to 4 and then kind of came across onto 11.
Mhm.
So there is some new cut in going through there.
Okay. Do you have more to give us? Questions, open the floor to the commission. Any questions other than Kathy's? I might have a couple.
So just keeping in mind that this is the acceptance of the application, it is a re-subdivision, so it would have to go to a public hearing.
So we don't do many subdivisions nor re-subdivisions Falls Village, so.
It's just
we
me
have
that
our-
doesn't bother.
we
you.
have
It
our,
is.
yeah.
I think I'm the only one that does it.
Unfortunately, we've had a few, so we're getting a little darker.
All my fault too.
We have some oversights in the past that we're trying to correct, so. We have some questions, but it's just to kind of go through our checklist.
Yep, sure.
And make sure that we all in a good way. So natural features is designed, the design is defined in the regulations as. I guess I lost my ability to spell.
Don't worry.
Oh,
believe
natural
me.
features. Land, water, and biological resources, including but not limited to soil types, terrain, slopes, ridge tops, rock outcroppings, water courses, ponds, rivers, floodplains, wetlands, stream belts, endangered species, wildlife habitat, prime and important farmland, soils, pastures, and other unique and fragile features.
Yes, we're doing it, we're trying to avoid a lot of that with,
With
we
the
do have it
layout.
with the layout that we're going with, the soils, as I said, are very good sandy soils. They're, you're not gonna get a lot of runoff from these soil types. They're sand and gravel, basically, soils.
So in section 4.03 on page 9 of our subdivision regs.
Yep.
It talks about the protection of these natural features. And the subdivision should be designed and arranged, and provision shall be made to preserve these natural features and prevent the pollution of wetlands, water courses, and water bodies, protect the quality and quantity of water supplies, minimize flood damage.
And we're showing some swales along, if the driveway gets developed like this, they'd have to have a more detailed plan, but we've got infiltration swales along the driveways in the area where it gets deeper so we can catch any of the water and get it in the swales. And like I said, with the sandy soil, get it in the soils, it's gonna go down so that you don't get any rushing water down the hill.
You've got all of this.
It's just so commissioners are aware, we do have the right to require the preservation or enhancement of any of these specific natural features. I think that you probably have it covered, but just so the commissioners are.
And there's still, even though we're splitting up these lots, these are still 30-acre lots. We're not proposing a lot of develop. We're not trying to split it into. It's 80,000 square foot zoning, and we're
So if these lots are approved, the corners of all the lots and open space and the conservation easements, we don't have any, but we do have open space.
Yep.
Need to be demarcated with 1-inch steel pipes or 3/4 inch reinforcing rod, at least 8 inches long with concrete monuments. Again, I'm stating this just for the record, knowing that we've talked about this.
And I'm happy to go out there to verify in the event that it moves forward.
Yeah.
You covered the 15% open space, which is great. Could you describe a little bit why the open space it makes sense for Regency?
This is state of Connecticut along here. So putting this along this side made sense where we're kind of up against the state of Connecticut. Down here it gives protection to this downhill neighbor and everything too. And that's kind of off the
Just on that end.
Just on that end where
Now that'll be owned by this lot.
Correct. It'll be a
restricted
area. Yeah, each deed will have a restriction on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's unique to Falls Village that there's no like outside entity that owns the lot necessarily.
We're unique in so many.
So many.
The only town that has it, but around here it's one of the few.
Yeah.
And just for the record, those demarcated lots, provided as open space, shall be left in a natural state by the subdivider, except for the improvement or maintenance. This may be expressly permitted or required by the commission. It shall not be graded, cleared, or used as a depository for brush, stumps, or earth, building materials, or debris, except if approved by this commission.
Understood.
We skip a lot of pages now. The pressure's coming up.
So there's a lot in regulations, road design and everything else that don't really
Yeah,
apply to
it does.
today's-
An engineer clearly wrote that.
There is, well, back, in the 70s and stuff when, 30 lot subdivisions were going in, it made sense. But nowadays, when we do 2 and 3 lot subdivisions,
Sure.
they don't really apply anymore.
Now, speaking of the driveway, great segue.
Yeah.
A maximum slope of 15%.
Yeah,
And I
we're at
think
12.
we covered that in years.
Yeah, we're
in the
12.9.
time
Last time
that
around,
we
yeah.
were close, but we made
Yeah,
the
12.9 is our worst
okay,
slope on if they get developed where they are.
right. But noting that if they do change, that it needs
That
to
needs
be
to come
less than the
Yeah, nothing to 15. Correct.
Realistically, it would be less. This would be a phenomenal, I mean, amazing house, but that is
Yeah.
a phenomenally long driveway. That's an expensive driveway.
Very expensive, yeah.
So the storm drainage, as we talk about, driveway and
Yeah.
cutting it in and whatnot,
We did the swales on the driveway.
you're fully responsible for adequate facility to control collection, conveyance, and acceptable
Yeah.
disposal of the stormwater, surface water even, and all designed by you.
And that's based on the 2021 reg, the recent update, somewhat recent. I mean, it is
Yeah.
2026, so it's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It
Believe
was
it or not.
yesterday.
I know.
But yeah, those and those would have to be further reformed when we have actual design, We're showing
Right,
what would
potential.
the potential, but
Yeah.
come time to actually develop it.
And
Changes.
underground utilities coming in for each lot is the requirement. So for
Wow.
4.13 underground wire utilities, I was
Works,
I didn't know about that. It's
No.
23.
yeah.
So in my reading today, I'm like, oh, that's-
You read it, so-
which it may in today's world may
Unless-
you know,
There's a written report submitted that it's inappropriate.
right. So
Sometimes
that-
it's inappropriate if there's wetlands and other
Yeah.
natural features where you don't want to bury them.
Fire protection section. Did you read on our fire protection sections? This is something that we may need to have some time on because we haven't spoke about this in the past. But it's a pretty I'm not sure, mind you, we inherited this from a long time ago and we don't do many, so it's unless modified or waived by the commission in accordance with section 3.05, each subdivision shall at the subdivider's expense provide fire protection facilities to protect public safety. We're gonna have to explore that some more on our level, but it looks like
We should give it to the fire marshal.
4.1, and that is in there as well. 4.145, the commission may wholly or partially waive the requirement of construction fire protection facilities, provided that the subdivider deposits funds in a dedicated town account for fire protection facilities. The way that I interpret that, and we'll have to revisit this, but the way I interpret it is for a fee to be determined. We don't have a fire district, but in essence, our fire department, which does maintain fire ponds, it'd go into a dedicated fund towards that purpose in lieu of.
This site would be very
Building
difficult to
ponds.
build a pond on
Exactly.
that site with the
Exactly.
slopes and everything.
So
So
it's
I
just
think that
something
would be
that we as a commission will definitely have to talk more about if we accept this application or if and when.
Okay.
Clearing. Let's see, sedimentation clearing and sedimentation control plan.
Yeah, we show silt fences along all the downhill of all the proposed driveways and like I said, feasibility, so we'll come back with
Understood.
ENS when development plans, which are,
A more sophisticated. Yeah.
plan when it comes to.
So, when it comes time for the driveways, 4.17 is tree planting. So unless waived by the commission due to the preservation of existing healthy trees, trees shall be planted in each subdivision in the amount of 4 trees per 100 feet of road length.
Well, there's no road,
Almost-
we're not proposing a road, so.
Yeah, I almost find that, oh, that's true. So maybe that's
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 irrelevant.
weird because they do alter between road and driveway.
Yeah.
So there's nothing.
We're not having any road, exactly.
Okay.
So it's.
I just kind of thought that was odd because I mean, there's got to be a million trees.
Yes.
Yeah, and like I said, the driveways are following the old woods road, so we're not cutting any trees either, really, to speak of in the. Yeah.
We'll have to go through the plan information summary about the title block, scale, and all that, just to make sure.
And one of our waiver
I think
requests
it's kinda
was
have
for
kind of
a
thing.
was for the scale of the drawing because yours is 1 in 40.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's
make sense to
impossible.
show a 1 in 40. We'd have
Very
15
large
sheets
sheets of
for
paper.
to show nothingness basically,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't be able to even follow it.
Is
So
it more than 100?
it's 150.
Okay, so it is more than 100. So you can go 140 to 100.
That's for preliminary, but for
Oh, yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
final, you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
be
Oh, that's
140.
very
So,
good. Thanks for your help. That's
Yeah.
why I brought you along.
but it doesn't in a spot like this where we got 30-acre lots. It doesn't make sense.
That won't work. Yeah.
Our blow ups of the actual like sites that we had for the that we submitted to the health department are smaller scale, 20 scale
Got it.
of the blow ups, like right where the house is in the
Okay.
second or so.
So then, Keith, if you went through the formal application and all these check boxes.
Yep.
So we do have a very distinct
Sure.
list of moving things that.
Yeah, Janelle and I both been back
I
and
think I drove Keith nuts.
We've been better back and forth and tried to make sure we crossed every T and dotted every I.
Fine line from drive nuts to walk nuts. Already there. Of course, you got Torrent Canary Health,
Yep.
water report,
It's
drainage
all
report.
in that narrative that I submitted.
Mhm.
We needed some reading this week.
Yeah. You make me, cause
I'm hoping you'll be more educated on your rules.
absolutely. So there's no inland wetland demarcation, so you just get yourself out of some of my little comments.
Yeah.
And it's just following along, they're not
Yeah.
my comments. And then the formal, you guys have gone through that, you and Janelle, but they're
Yeah.
very distinct, again,
Yep.
they want to make sure we do it right, because they listed twice. So Janelle had said already about following a public hearing, if in our judgment, circumstances require such action. So, we will be. If that, hello? It is 6. Let me say. I found this interesting, and I don't know if it's before, but we will now that I read it. So if, you go to a public hearing, the commission approves the plans are brought back. And before they can be signed by myself as chairman, we have to have a majority vote of these commissions to allow me to sign that plan. And that's kind of unique to the subdivision, so it's really just kind of at that point, just a formality, but just so everybody's on the same page going into it. And I don't think there's gonna be any need for this, but there's a guarantee for completion of improvements if we were called upon improvements to.
Right.
Like
if that's more of a road,
plan,
that's
but
more of a road
that's
situation.
probably more of the road, or if there was no extenuating circumstance. I don't feel as though there will be any, but.
Not for rural lots like this. It's not.
And that's what I'm doing.
Well, that wasn't.
Not too bad. We're getting better. Thanks for the practice. Where are we going next?
Back to habitat.
All right, Aspen Hill Road. So anybody else have any comments, questions on Zoom?
No.
So Janelle, moving forward, would we take an action of setting a public hearing?
Accepting plan.
Yeah, you are required to formally accept the plan as complete. And then because it's a re-subdivision, set the hearing.
Okay.
Um,
Are you comfortable with us calling it for date?
I received payment this evening.
Okay. With meeting all the requirements, I'll accept a motion to accept this application for re-subdivision. Aspen Hill Drive. Is there some more
So
information?
there's Music Mountain Farms lots 4A and 11A were the original ones there.
Did you get that, Patty?
Music Mountain lots 4A
Music Mountain
and
Farm,
Farm, Music
yeah,
Mountain Farm.
lots 4A and 11A.
Okay.
A motion to that effect?
So
Doug, is there a second?
Second.
Kathy, is there any discussion on accepting, to accept this application for said Music Mountain Farm lot 4A and 11?
And 11A, yeah.
11, close. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just for the record, that's set for Thursday, August 27th. I just want to move on with that.
Okay. You probably was pretty sad. Conservative.
You did your reading, you got your research done.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Yeah.
I know you know all this, but you'll notify all the abutting
Others,
neighbors.
yeah.
And send her the
Yeah.
by certified.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the time. It's so really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. There we go.
Announcements by these yours.
I assume that they are, but it's for
Yeah,
property of the town, I would say.
I did, I'll fix that topo that didn't
Do
show
you
up.
mind sending just a digital copy? So
Yeah,
I
I'll
can
send a digital
circulate?
copy of everything, I'll reprint that one so that the topo shows up.
If people ask, it's helpful. just
No.
to
Of the
have.
check with the account number.
Thank you, thank you, and I'll put these just in the beautiful, the town bios. Right.
I'm trying to answer, because your regulations said they have to be bound too, so I made sure to staple them together, which makes it more of a pain for rolling them out on the table, but. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I cross every,
Somebody
See,
back in
yeah.
the day was laughing at me.
yeah.
We'll get them tomorrow. All right, let's see. Give it a moment and then that one. See that. This is Texas. Not a light of it. Keep it on.
She got to the purpose of that thing.
One less thing. Letter to my office and.
Catch your breath.
All set,
Having a good week.
easy. Right.
Item 4C, pre-application discussion, Habitat for Humanity on River Road. Oh, it's you.
Well, good evening, Commissioner. My name is Keith Bond.
You're warmed up now.
Mine's up, yeah. All right, 2 copies again for you guys, and you need to hold them down there, but.
Yeah, so right.
I don't know if we just want to go straight to the second page, since this was the original, all the whole thing. This is developers on the second page. Proposers.
How about
So if I get your phone to. All right. River Road here. All right, this is the Falls Village Housing Trust piece that's being developed now over here. So we'd come in 2 months ago, maybe, about the lot line revision on this.
Mhm.
We'd like to put 3 we originally had discussions with you guys about 5 duplexes and stuff. After looking at cost of community wells and all that stuff, we're coming back. We'd like to put 3 single family homes, kind of the same configuration that we were looking at with the 5 duplexes, but a lot less density here. 3 separate wells, separate septics for all of them, but all on a single lot. The soils out there were really good for septic and everything, so there's no health and safety worries with the septic and everything else. It's all sand and gravel down, yeah, all the way down the hole. They're very sandy soils.
So you wouldn't be using the IHC overlay, you would just do this within your residential.
Well, I think the IHC was used up with this. So we'd be looking at just doing it as a development for the 3.
So to refresh everyone's memory, what kind of acreage do we have left here?
It is 2.7.
To the zoning table.
On the
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
on this one,
Yeah, and I just want to look at it real quick, just. So, because this would be a moot point, so
Right,
I don't
yeah,
know
that
why
is
that.
I should have gotten rid of
No,
that.
it's okay, I just think it can be confusing.
Yep, no,
Because you are coming in under residential agriculture zone.
Yeah.
Because the IHC has been exhausted.
right.
Okay, and then looking at your lot size.
And we do not meet, we have 3 houses we're proposing on a 2.7 acre parcel.
And for each house, it would require a
80,000 square foot. We can't,
square foot.
we don't have the frontage to get 3 separate lots in there. And the back part is all going to conservation of this. So we have the 200 foot of frontage along there that's going to them, so.
So are they all proposed to be affordable, or is
Yes.
it all, okay, so it would be 100%?
100%
Got it.
affordable. Yeah, they're all for habitat. All habitat houses, 100% affordable.
I'm assuming 80% AMI?
60.
60. Okay.
So do you have, so really, this is kind of a pre-application because of you don't have the road frontage for 3 individuals.
Wow,
So in that
right.
sense, it would be
An
looking.
830G acquisition.
You would explain that to them.
Yes, so 830G, it says Connecticut state statute, it's been in place since, I believe it was 1989. And it is the way that the state first supported affordable housing by authorizing municipalities in the event that a developer were to propose 20%, and this is all like off the top of my head, so these details might be a little foggy. 20% of all units as affordable, they could come in under an 830G application. That changes the scrutiny of the Planning and Zoning Commission. It minimizes your zoning standards because it's in a residential zone. So out the window go single family homes on single family lots. It's more so in the event that the commission wishes to deny this application, you have to find detrimental environmental issues that
Or
you can,
safety.
or safety, thank you, that you can utilize with fact to back up a denial. The application does need to include an affordable housing plan. So you need to indicate to this commission your affordable housing administrator so that the town is aware of how you're planning on reviewing, auditing those units. It's typically done on an annual or biannual basis to prove to the town that you are keeping them as affordable. 830G requires the affordability to be in place for 30 years. So in the event that this moves forward, we would need the documentation showing that it would be, whether it's however it's financed, if it's going to be deed restricted, if you're getting funding, however, so that we have documentation of that. And then your affordable housing plan to go with the application. I didn't fully prepare for knowing that this was a pre-application, but certainly I will do my due diligence to prepare the commission for basically what they need to review. I have some really wonderful legal books, what's legally required, everyone has a copy of. I would just suggest read the 830G section, just knowing that.
We also talked about that new regulation. Have you had any chance to
So-
peruse that any better or?
That 133,
So it's Public Act, do you mind saying that number again? 25-1, and it's actually applicable for commercial zones. So in the event that there is a commercial zone, and this can happen anywhere, so it's really helpful. It's effective as of July 1. In the event that an applicant comes in with a proposal in a commercial zone for middle housing, that's anywhere from 2 units to 11 units. The requirement is that it's a streamlined application process. So less so that the town would push it to a public hearing and would just look at it very expeditiously as a site plan. And there are some parking reductions that go within that requirement that the state has recently mandated. It's all very much new law. The new law is not very well written. If you want to pull it and read it, I have a lot of legal summaries. I'm happy to bring one to a future meeting. It is very much in keeping with like TOD development, so transit oriented. It seems very less geared towards our small towns, given our limited infrastructure, because you'd still be as an applicant up against what you are in the situation that you're in is the expensive infrastructure. So in developing, whether it's a community well or community septic, I'm sure as you were proposing a feasibility study to figure out what works, the infrastructure is really complicated. And I don't believe there's that much public infrastructure to take advantage of in town.
So you would still be looking to come through the neighboring.
Through the neighbor, well, we have an easement
Yeah, that's
on
good.
the, on the end there, yeah.
Can you refresh me if you know this answer? Is this where they're entering?
No, there is very down.
So it's a whole nother.
Yeah, this is where the original gate was and everything that had the habitat sign on it.
Okay.
That's where that is.
That's where that
They
is.
came in further back. So they have a construction kind of park
They do,
material,
yeah.
all parked in here, but their entrance is down here. It's it was already an entrance. It's been an entrance. It was old, yeah. So that we're using that because sight line's better and this is all mounted up, so keeps us from having to blast through with another driveway.
There's a burn.
It allows us to keep that all protected to you won't have the visibility from the road because you're leaving that berm and leaving all those trees and coming in an existing entrance and
Yeah.
using that existing entrance to access.
So 3 separate wells and
3 separate septics, yeah.
So it's, I mean, costly as an infrastructure.
Right, but it's under, it's under the community, it's with less than, you need 25 residents put you into community well. We're under that, so it doesn't need to be
Public water.
So it's good. The health department, the state, as far as community wells, considers 2 people for the first bedroom and 1 person for the bedroom, each bedroom after that in a dwelling. So it would be 4, 8, 12 people is what they for water. Septic's a little different. Septic considers 2 people per bedroom for the first, 3 bedrooms. There's a little bit difference between the water rules and the septic rules, but
And have you gotten into sort of, like I'm seeing just a box. So have you gotten into like basement, excavation, more of like that sophisticated site plan related? Is this a
they have a
multi-story, single story? Is there like
they have a house that they use for habitat. If you want to share a little more to that. No?
Yeah, we've built 4 homes that we had commissioned by a draftsperson and reviewed and redone by Andrew Ferentinos, architect from Sharon.
Yep.
And Andrew has been working on certain enhancements to this property, as well as we're doing a similar setup for a home in Winston right now. So more to keep in tune with the neighborhood in Winstead, we asked Andrew to go ahead and design some interest into the home, because in Winstead in particular, the concept of a 24 by 48 box, which is what our basic plan is to construct, it seemed a little blah. So we wanted to enhance that a little bit and be more in keeping with the neighborhood. So we asked him to as well do this. And so he will be making certain enhancements. And when we actually come before the commission for approval, we will be able to present some drawings, hopefully he'll be able to produce for us.
These boxes are based on the original design that they've
The
used
24
typically.
by 48, and that won't change substantially.
Got
It's
it.
just
That's
a
gonna be
little
more
too-
architectural features on it to
Yeah.
make it a little nicer.
More so the excavation question, basement, full basement, half basement.
full basement.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use superior walls,
Yeah.
the modular basements.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it expedites the process. And
It's all sand and gravel. There's an old gravel pit. You know that cut back there is the edge of the old gravel pit. There's actually a tower thing for where they used to load the trucks with. That's back in right to there.
What is your timeline for the submission of a formal application?
We are,
that's it.
I think I've got to get it to Torrance Hub, but they've already preliminarily looked at it and we're okay with it when we had the 5 buildings. So now we're reducing it down to the 3. We should be able to get Torrance help within a couple weeks. So potentially be on next.
Will you be deed restricting the units?
All Habitat homes, Habitat maintains ownership of the property. We only transact the improvements, and we provide a ground lease that regulates the entirety of the relationship between the partners and Habitat, and maintains that the homes are affordable in perpetuity.
Yeah.
There's a minimum amount of, if you will, it's the return on investment equity that can be built up on an annual basis. It's minimized to 2%. Habitat also maintains right of first refusal.
Yeah.
And we provide an interest-free mortgage.
Got it. So just for the
I know. It literally is like winning a lot. That would save a homeowner $300,000 in this day and age.
Are these homes similar to the ones that are across the street?
No, the ones that were designed across the street are different. There's 2 different home designs over there. These are very similar to the homes we built in Lime Rock and in North Canaan.
Can you we've done so much now. Has that been split off yet to the other, what's it, Northwest?
NCLC, the Northwest Connecticut Land Conservancy. No, we because we aren't 100% sure what parcel we're going to sell them.
Because in case we had an issue here, we wanted to make sure we were.
So you would approve this first, or you would try, your intention would be to
simultaneously
do this application and
do both.
Yes.
Does that change anything for us?
No,
Not
because
really.
it would be a lot line modification.
Yeah.
We would be doing.
Right.
If you just represent it and it can be pending approval.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's just with the unknown, we're trying to get the best fit in here for the neighborhood and everything else.
Typical, as we had talked, you kind of do it as able to timeline. But this seems, with a very dedicated.
We also have this parking lot is going to be a priority. So because the Northwest Conservation District, they're required to have access within 60 days or 6 months from the time they close on a property. They have to have a parking lot and access to the public in there. So it would be a priority that this drive, especially this part of the driveway and back to their parking lot, would be done right away.
To be perfectly honest with you, one of the things we're kind of considering at this stage of the game is the use of modulars, using this design, so that we could effectuate getting the project constructed more quickly.
Okay.
It's still in development, but we're contemplating it because at the end of the day, our rate of building right now is about one every 2 years. So we also have some funders who have asserted that they would love to see our timelines moved up, and that either means hire more people or possibly do like this.
Sure. Yeah, just kind of curious if it was going to be the infrastructure.
I think the
put in or
infrastructure
the-
would go in for, would have to go, would go in all at once. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
make sense to partial that
Yeah.
out. You could, if we're gonna have to put this in, they might as well
They're there.
put the rest of the
They're
driveway.
mobilized.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did in North Canaan. We have a three development there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to kind of piecemeal that. It's, you already have the workers going. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So you'll be ready with your set aside, your affordability duration. It sounds like you already have thought through the income limits, the affordability plan, and then your conceptual site plan is essentially that.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I forward to the commission the copy of the ground lease that was put together by it was written many years ago.
It isn't required.
Well, I'd be happy to because it very clearly spells out the relationship between partners and how Habitat maintains ownership of the land to ostensibly keep it more affordable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah.
I think the biggest, I think plan wise, I think we'd be ready next month. It's just going to depend on the lawyers for the 830G requires some lawyer language. So
is there some lawyer language?
yeah, there's some lawyer
Okay.
stuff that we have. So I think
I'm
that,
trying to avoid that.
but I think so. That's the only,
Start that meter run.
but potentially next month. But we'll have to talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah,
And it's a CGS 830G.
yes,
Correct.
8-30G.
Correct. So the town of Falls Village is not exempt because they're beneath the 10% threshold of all units being deemed affordable. So that makes the town subject to 30G application.
If you already have 10%, then you're exempt from it. But
So is that a waiver or?
You
basically
do-
eliminates zoning.
I have not worked in a town that has had greater than the 10% threshold. But I do understand it is a moratorium, not so much, we don't use the language waiver for that. It's more so for the period of time that you're at that 10%, you're above it or you're at it. You are relieved of the quote unquote burden of being subject to further 830G applications. But I do believe you have to make an application to the state requesting that because some towns may just say,
Continue to allow it.
yeah, you're allowing developers to continue.
But it does then override the 2 acre minimum per single family.
Whereas pretty much all your
Zoning
zoning regulations,
regulations.
the only thing you can comment on basically health and safety.
So the burdens on the municipality, it flips the burden of proof of deniability being on health, safety, and welfare. And it's not perceived health, safety, and welfare, it's factual health, safety, and welfare.
If we were showing something so dense that you couldn't, get a fire truck around or something like that, that would be, but
I typically would ask for third-party advisement if it came to that.
we're not showing any real that, yes, it's 3 houses on, 2.7 acres, but compared to, city or town, we might be on a quarter acre per house. We're really not proposing that sense of a development in there.
Any commissioners have further questions?
Yeah, I do. So in effect, our hands are tied, right? Because what I'm sitting here thinking about is that when this gets out to the public, they've always thought it was the 16 homes on 66 acres. That's the IHZ application that was out there. And now we've got, 16 homes on a much smaller parcel, and we're coming back with 3 more homes. And I can see a lot of people in town being quite upset about that. And I think we want to make sure that if this is true, that our story is, in effect, our hands are tied. right? That we can't really say no unless it is a safety or health, right? So,
And
Yeah,
the town has been quote unquote, I don't like using the term vulnerable, but the town has been subject to 830G since 1990.
mhm,
So anywhere where it's zoned residential, what requires a zone change would be your industrial zones, but any residential lot anywhere in town, in the event that a developer came forward with an application, it would be the same.
And really, those
rules
developers
in
would
play.
really only have to show 20% of it being affordable.
Correct.
mhm,
We're showing,
That's what
you
we're
know,
working on
we're
before.
we're 100%, affordable on this.
right, right.
So we're well beyond, So some developer could come into some site like this and propose 30 houses,
I'm working on
100 houses with 20 of them being affordable, and the
Yeah.
rest would have, and they could still steamroll the.
yeah, but I could echo, I obviously know that I will hear some of the same things, it's, we're subject to what we're subject to. But is there ever been any consideration of just one house in there?
No. It had always been the plan, even when we were giving over the property to, the Fall Village Housing Trust over here, to construct 2 or 3 homes, depending upon what it could be supported over there. And as has been
And
mentioned,
you have the right, I'm just asking.
and as has been mentioned more than a couple of times, we operated, originally from that premise of what was stated in your zoning regulations since 2013. So that predicated all of our plans. We might have changed the way we approached the Falls Village Housing Trust if we had any idea that
I assume it's gonna.
yeah,
Go
things
away.
things would change. But the short and long is our intention was always to, depending upon what could be managed on there, we would take as little of the remaining property as possible so that we give the rest over to the Northwest Connecticut Land Conservancy.
Our desires, this is great land for conservation, so our desire is to try to conserve as much of it as possible with that, If we just kept enough to keep the wells on the property and things like that.
Right. Just the absolute.
Well, you weren't gonna use it for much else, right? In full.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
full.
actually some more room back over there. We could do
you
other
could do
things.
you could do a couple other houses up in that area before you start getting up the hill, but
Yeah.
and over here as well.
Yeah, there's some wood road access that's actually kind of flat up there, so there's some possibilities, but we just
Beyond that, yes.
it's a go-go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you.
Great. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. So do you want us to retain
You
that?
guys can retain those in the past.
The second that we retain it, just so you know, it's subject to FOI. Not formal. just
Right.
point. So I leave that.
Yeah.
to-
What was your decision?
I'll take them back.
Okay.
Retaining the right,
Yeah.
yeah, keeps it safe land.
Moving on to item 5, old business, Village Center parking plan, solar committee update, and old firehouse sale, no updates. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.
Yeah, but-
Good night. Good night.
Dark skies, we still have not had a response from Lee H. Kellogg. We are going, there's a new principal as of, I think, today.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yes,
Oh, what is their name?
Jill
Johnson, Jackson.
Johnson, Jill Johnson, Jill, right?
Yeah.
Jill Johnson, I believe.
So not to go far afield, but speaking of Lee H. Kellogg, I did handwrite a note to thank them for accommodating us for the informational.
Oh, yes.
So
Thank
if
you.
I have it, if anyone really feels like they really want to sign it, I've left it for you, but I truly believe in the power of the written word. They did, we have stuff going, so
Yes.
hopefully that's how you, but I just wrote a handwritten telling
That's
them
awesome.
thank you.
Thank you, Attorney.
I wrote a note about Ford's Farm and backing up the thing tomorrow, your gear tomorrow for my next, don't worry about it. Okay. So we have to close everything.
The daycare.
The lights are on during the day now.
I
Uh-oh.
did reach out
Their
to,
timer changed.
I did reach out to first selectman Gardner probably about a month ago about that, and he said he was gonna get on it that day. Guess that hasn't happened, so I will. Make another night, make it all is, thank you. And weirdly in the day, it's like not every day though, right? So
I
if you-
stopped noticing, but I did know.
Because I absolutely could be losing my mind, but I swear sometimes they're on the day and sometimes they're not, but maybe my
I feel like
perception of the time.
You haven't
by
seen
Friday
it?
or Saturday,
Tuition
yeah, though the darkest time of the day.
in the lightest part, the dark. Light. All right, so we will,
Yeah, can I stay there for a moment?
you can,
Old business.
yes,
I'm gonna put my implementation cap on here for a
Yes.
second. We keep passing over A, B, and C under old business
Yeah.
every month.
yes.
How do we move it forward? How do these things? Something has to happen. It's been years for the firehouse, and I understand the solar committee, there's
Yeah,
things pending or whatnot, but you know, we're trying to implement this thing over the next, how do we keep moving? How do we get these things moving?
that's a great question, Doug. I mean, as far as like parking plan and the firehouse sale, maybe they'll be kind of connected when some traction takes off in them again.
What can we do
Honest-
to help move that along? Can we present or send a letter to the Board of Selectmen? How do we?
You can, I mean, it's kind of
Encourage
sitting in
people.
limbo. With still closing out. I'm not saying this is holding it up, but still in limbo is in the works, and Chris, feel free to jump in here. I think I'm covering it right. Is the easement, two easements for 33 Rail Street, 33 Railroad Street, 233 Railroad Street from 35. In essence, giving what is now the inn perpetual right of way through both the parking lot and pedestrian right of way between the buildings to the rear of the lot in exchange for a stretch of land, which is beneficial to the what we'll call the old firehouse, in that it would take a non-conforming lot and turn it into a conforming lot.
Well, I get
which
all that.
gives
It's
a
been,
better use to the town. So, and we're like, I would call it, I think it'd be fair to call it the 11th hour
yeah,
on it. So it would be good if that wrapped up. Full transparency, I am the chair of that sales committee and we have not met in probably a year for a multitude of reasons, kind of waiting for some of this stuff to work itself through. It does appear as though it needs some prodding to get to the next step. And I think, personally speaking, I've been very short on time to dedicate anything to it. But I'm sure a letter to the Board of Selectmen can't hurt, but they're well aware of it.
sure.
Type of thing. So
I think,
I'm hoping, and hope doesn't get you far, but I am hoping for some movement on it in the next 8 weeks.
yeah, I
4
mean,
weeks,
4 years
8 weeks.
later, I think it's fair to ask.
Yeah.
What's
And,
the hold now,
I've had community members that would like to turn it into a community center. Let's use this asset for the town. That's something a whole different ball of wax. But it's been long enough that people would like to use it for a community purpose compared to why sell this asset. We have it, could be
Sure.
used for this community asset. So there's definitely a lot of attention on it throughout the town as far as A, not moving, or B, why even get rid of it, but like everything, it's gonna be a person or a group of people to come forward and at least propose something like that.
So I'm going to assume that any potential buyer at this point has walked, right? Like we don't have anybody on the hook right now that is
There's
actively
nobody anxiously waiting.
So is it,
There has been people interested along the way and have
right, we've seen a number.
preliminary discussed it, and honestly, I feel it just kind of moves along at this point.
Is it even being marketed anymore?
It
Well,
has
that's the
not
thing, yeah,
been.
there's been no active, no action as far as marketing.
And maybe that's a logical next step. It's it's a little bit, it's just a difficult lot the way
Mhm.
that it is now. And I think it's so much easier to market if it's not,
If the easements
if the
are
back wall's
done.
not owned by the neighbor.
Yeah, if the easements are done and the lot is clear. Yeah.
If, you know, if it's a
The
property
title.
line, so the building is full of the lot. It's gonna be much more marketable than now. It's kind of buyer knowing that you're,
You got work to do.
Well, also the town has gone through such lengths to get it to this point, so why not cross the finish line? And then have a higher value
potentially,
property
for sure.
potentially. I
At
mean,
least
great.
a better,
And that's kind of where I'm going, right? Like when you think about it, and you're trying to market it for sale, and I have no idea if we have an asking price set on it or not. But I think we have to look at what someone's going to have to invest in that building to make it worthwhile, right? So if they buy it for 100,000 and they have to invest in another 100,000 in it to make it be worthwhile, whether that's paying legal fees on the easements, improving the building, will it be worth 200 at the end, right? And I think we have to kind of think about what that's potentially going to be worth, what it's going to cost to improve it, and then what do we have to ask to get in it?
so what was approved at town meeting is $300,000 sale price as is. From prior members of this board that did that kind of work their entire careers. We're looking at $1 to $1.2 million investment, most likely to get it to
Yeah.
a nice rollout.
Right.
So it's a heavy lift for, especially with, I feel, it's just my opinion. I feel it's a heavy lift, especially if you don't have a clean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it title.
That's what it
Well,
is.
and I can't imagine that building with anybody doing anything to it is ever going to be worth $1 million, right? I mean, there's just no way.
Unfortunately, there were two buyers 3 years ago that wanted to buy it as is, flat out, and we let that go. So, I'm not trying to make it some major issue here, but it's, every time I go through a spending budget cycle and we're talking about raising taxes and, $300,000 is sitting there watching us go through it. Whether it becomes a community center or not, I don't have a problem with that so much. Maybe we let the money go. Again, from my perspective with the POCD, what is the town doing to move us forward? And these things are stuck. So we need to move them. So I'd be willing to draft a letter to the Board of Selectmen.
Sure.
From the subcommittee, pass it by all of you and just try to put a little fire under them, see what we can get.
Sure. And what are your thoughts on the village center parking plan? Because it's a beautiful plan.
Well, I know
Is
it goes
that
hand in
something-
hand. It always, originally it started out that way, and I was on that committee too. So I think the details have been firmly worked out, and there's a great plan sitting there. Do we need to wait for the building to sell? Not necessarily.
I don't think
Would,
they're.
would that be an enticement for a purchase with the parking?
Well, on the one buyer who was serious, Jim, it was kind of a stipulation that he had hoped it would work out that way, that would be completed before or as part of it in an equitable way to all businesses. So I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, and I think anybody who comes downtown at lunchtime, it's pretty full. If you come when the group is on the center on Main, it's pretty full. If you come when 100 Main is open and the group is there and it's a nice weekend, it's pretty full. So thankfully, we got to a part where parking is being, I don't know, I haven't counted particularly, but it
No.
seems as though it's pretty full. because-
Parking down Water Street.
Exactly. When you get down to Water Street, I would call it pretty full down, which is a great problem to have that we haven't experienced in some time, I would think.
Right.
So maybe the timing, Doug, of moving those forward and reigniting them is
All right,
maybe.
I'll draft a letter, get it to this group to view. Look at.
Do you mind adding just one sentence about just leaving a building sitting adds to additional cost? Because of the deferred maintenance.
Send me a
That's what I'm trying to
paragraph.
say. I know, I'm not being articulate right now.
No, I get what you're saying. It's a good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all know this because when we leave our homes,
Sure.
we come home and mice have moved in and other issues have happened. So it's just, I think it's been vacant for when
16, right?
16 months?
Well, we-
No, since they moved.
Well, we had
2016.
tenants
16.
and then we,
There was
Oh,
some,
yeah, right.
yeah,
so
there was,
never changed, it's supposed to buy, so we're talking 2 to 3 years.
yeah,
Probably.
but
Do mice ever move out?
I'll try to come up with a better
Just a
encapsulation
paragraph.
of what I'm trying to say.
I'll work it in. I'll give you credit.
I spent all my brain power on 830G.
Thank you, Doug, for pausing us on that.
Yeah,
So we'll get back to work on LHK and this dark sky initiative and light. Maybe, we can convince them to use it as a teaching tool within the school community. Eversource as private agency. Janelle, do you have more to speak on?
no, I drove by today. I'm speaking about our Warren Turnpike site, and I noticed there is some equipment there. And I've been remiss on reaching out and just saying, hey, at these locations, you're not actually operating a public utility. And just let them know about that nuance. And I'll do that.
And I think all I've seen there, and maybe Matt travels there more than I do. I just saw polls. Is there more there now?
No,
Yeah,
very
just a bunch-
valuable.
Yeah,
Very valuable poll.
Polls,
Yeah.
yes. I thought I
the
saw one in
gates are
Matt's
shut, the
car.
poles are in.
Very valuable poll that, need bright lights at night.
So it's just, to expand on that a little bit further.
Like
But
We
it hasn't
believe-
gone dark when I've driven by recently, so,
Yeah, they have shut the lights off.
so yeah.
So Eversource has always acted on the properties as in essence a
public utility,
public utility,
and they're not.
but they are actually not. So we are reaching out to them to say, well, actually, you are not a public utility acting as a public utility. So we think that there potentially could be some tax owed.
Oh, I didn't even get in there. I didn't even go there.
No,
when
I
was
know.
having this discussion with you.
No, I know. That's me talking out loud. So there's other implications as far as permitting, the rights that a public utility would have compared to a private company. And, obviously when you go public to private, there's also potentially tax repercussions. I'm way early on that. I'm not
Wow,
speaking
dude.
on it, but
Hey, has anybody
It's-
seen Greg?
there's been no power to this house for weeks. But anyhow, we're continuing our research and reaching out. We did have a contact who was pretty responsive, so we will track her and see if it goes anywhere. Okay, items, anything further on that? Questions? Item 6, other business, POCD implementation subcommittee update.
Nothing to add today, but I will get that letter drafted.
Any questions for the committee? Subcommittee, P and Z monthly financial report, Janelle had handed that out. So this is through June, I believe.
There's some,
And July through May, so
Yeah.
July through June. Yeah, I'm not quite sure when we had that second page, but we'll go with it. So mileage, we're at 100%. We will be over by end of fiscal year. The town treasurer is well aware of that, and I believe we made a modification into the new year on that line. Everything else seems in order at this point. Our publication expense is always a little bit of an unknown. I think we knowingly spend more than what we're charged, and we try to I feel like it's getting better, but I do feel like that line is a little bit less than what it actually was. But otherwise, we fell, right now through June, with 1 month ago, we were at 77.37% of the budget spent. So we did have we've been really busy, so we have some bills that were put into July, but the best of our accounting, we will come in under budget as a whole. over on mileage, and I think that was maybe the only line, but we'll see. Hopefully by next month we'll have newer, more.
I keep my own accounting and I am under budget, just for the record, for the last fiscal year. No promises for this fiscal year.
It's busy.
Yeah.
We're really busy, as we can see. So these projects require a lot of attention, a lot of Janelle's time. There's been certain lots in town that have required a lot of time. There's been a lot of repeated inquiries, freedom of information type stuff that requires a lot of time, Janelle. So that's why it's tough to put it into a budgetary number, because it's our best guess. Listen, we're going to serve the town what we need. If we have to go back to the Board of Finance to finish our fiscal year, then we'll go back to the Board of Finance and ask for more money if needed. As of this fiscal year,
We're in good shape.
we look in good shape. Any questions on the financial reports? Do we usually vote to receive that? I don't remember. Yeah, we'll move on.
When, at the end of the fiscal year, if we're as a whole over, if you're over on one thing, so you're over the mileage, but as a whole, we're under budget. Does that just move money around within the budget?
Great question.
Yeah, I think that I think we're trying to bridge that gap through miscellaneous spending, so it should work itself out. But yes, it would just stay within that budget, and then anything unspent would be returned from the whole budget, would just be returned to the general fund. I don't think it's anything where they will need to transfer money, such as other commissions or boards have done in the past when they have over expenditures by X percentage. We're literally, if anything, I think as an overall budget, we're going to be well under. And however they want to deal with that one particular line, that's up to the Board of Finance.
When you were doing the POCD, did that like go over budget?
No, because we pay for the POCD by a capital reserve account that we contribute to every year.
All right.
And we came in actually, I think even under what was budgeted, if I recall right, but it was a fair amount. We even added in some public hearings, which cost some extra money, but if memory serves me right, we still came in under what we had approved to spend on that project.
Okay.
Anything else? Regulations review, village business zone expansion, feedback and next steps. So we had our public presentations, and I thought it went well. I thought it gave everybody a chance to, from the community, those that wanted to attend, to kind of ask some questions, hear the best answers we could give with what we have at the moment. We appreciate the feedback. We appreciate the thoughtful, continued communication. It makes our job easier to know what people affected by this would like to know, need to know, what we can do to help them educate themselves, what they know that can educate us, so that we can, if we choose to move forward in the same collaborative manner that we entered the informational meeting with. So happy birthday. Good.
Do you want me to wait till the end for comments, or would you like?
I'm gonna bring you in just a little bit. We have your we definitely have your communication. The board has received your communication.
Will it be entered in the minutes for this meeting? I would
Absolutely will.
note that none of my comments for the special meeting were included in the minutes. I'm sure
I
there was no
don't,
oversight.
I'm not sure why you're staring straight at me.
No.
It wasn't, I think
Okay.
you must have a guilty conscience, but I was not staring directly.
Okay,
I have
just-
no idea who does the minutes.
I'm acknowledging your eye contact.
Okay. Fair enough. One question, unfortunately, because I was so informed at the time, was a little rambling. However, there was no mention of my comments whatsoever, and mine was not the only one that was rambling.
Yeah,
So I would ask that this letter be entered in the minutes of the meeting, if you would.
It's already been received and will be formally input in. As far as discussion within a meeting. It's not, honestly, meetings minutes only need to describe who made motions, what the motions were, that discussion ensued.
Oh, I'm not.
So it's not.
No, and
No,
why
I-
I make such a specific point that I would ask that this be included.
It absolutely will. I just wanted to know it wasn't that we let you
I
off or anything.
would never reply otherwise.
And rambling, I ramble more than anybody.
Well, again, the
so.
definitions I needed were right in the packet handed out in the middle of the meetings.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah, and as far as that, we did have a packet, and I'll take the full blame on that because I didn't feel as though that was kind of like discussion points. Sometimes when you hand out information, people take it as, oh, this has already been action, or this has already been
It'd
decided.
be overwhelming. Sure.
And it was, in hindsight, I think maybe I should have released it at the beginning or prior, but judgment call that I learned from.
Was that meeting recorded?
I believe it was recorded.
Yeah.
So we have record.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So getting back on my thought here. So the feedback, so I thought there was really no surprises. I wasn't surprised by anything. I think it's a good, we look at it in an insular nature because we've been talking about it, but then to get the feedback from the public for the first time, I thought it's a very healthy step to go forward because now it's when you work on something a long time, you're looking at it from the nuts and bolts, but then you have to look at the full picture. And I think this informational session allowed a little more full picture to move ahead. And at this time, I think that we've spent time on it. We've heard from the public. I think we ought to take those comments, go back to our working sessions, maybe take that into consideration, realize some of the things we're missing, some of the stuff we need to get out to everybody that would be affected, and kind of go through that process. Right. Any other comments from anyone here on?
I mean, just for the sake of time, it might be effective to, prior to going into verbatim Richard's inquiry, to respond to the inquiry, because many of the questions are easily answered, and that might help cut down on some of the back and forth.
Sure.
If it's time to
Totally.
move into that, and I don't want to cut off the commission if they have thoughts about that meeting. I do have just sort of, this has not been vetted by this commission as a whole. This was something that I prepared and then shared with the chair prior to this meeting, just in preparation for responding for clarity. So this was as requested by the town of Falls Village to be replied to in writing. And that will certainly happen, but I always look for the commission to bless it before it's a permanent record. As requested by the town, question 1, if the VRBZ gets approved as a text map amendment, does the use of 115 Railroad Street as a warehouse become a pre-existing non-conforming use? Answer. No, it would become a pre-existing, it would not become a pre-existing non-conforming use. Prior to the adoption of the VRBZ, the commission intends to review the permitted uses currently allowed within the light industrial zone to ensure they are appropriately incorporated into the proposed village residential business zone. The existing permitted use of truck and freight terminals and warehouses may be revised to simply read warehouses as a permitted use, with the term warehouse being defined within the zoning regulations to clarify.
We're gonna hold you there for a second. So I run meetings a little bit differently. We're speaking obviously about your letter. We can go let's go
Oh, no, I'm
point
happy
to
to,
point,
please.
and then we'll, if you have something, jump on in.
Simple answers are the best kind of like.
Yeah.
Kind of how
If you need some
approach
clarity or a question on it,
Absolutely.
jump right on in. Okay.
So question 2, if it does become a pre-existing non-conforming use without a clause under special permit specifically stating expansion of pre-existing non-conforming use, do I lose the ability to expand my building? Answer. This question is rendered moot by the response to response to question one, as the warehouse use would not become a pre-existing non-conforming use. However, under the town zoning regulations, the expansion of a lawful pre-existing non-conforming use may be requested through the special permit process, subject to commission review and approval.
So that would be added to the special permit section, because currently it's not.
We're getting there.
Got it.
3, if the answer to the above 2 questions is yes, would the zoning commission be willing to add expansion of pre-existing non-conforming use to the by special permit section of the proposed VRBC? Answer, this question is also addressed by the response to question 1. Since the warehouse use is not anticipated to become a pre-existing non-conforming use, no additional language specific to this circumstance is necessary. Moving on to number 4. Would the zoning commission be willing to add warehouse to the by special permit section of the proposed VRBZ? Answer, the commission will review the list of permitted uses currently allowed within the light industrial zone during its review of the proposed VRBZ. The intent is to ensure that existing permitted uses are appropriately carried forward into the new zoning district. As part of that review, the existing use, truck and freight terminals and warehouses, may be revised to include warehouses as a permitted use, together with an accompanied definition of the term within the regulations.
That's a great answer to 4, because it makes 1, 2, and 3 essentially. I like you said, moot. Can I ask, would there be no expansion of pre-existing? Would that clause not exist, period? I obviously 4 would take care of my concerns, period, but will that language not be in the special permit section at all?
So my understanding is that's in all of the special permit sections, and
It's in the current ones, it wasn't in the proposed VRBC definition of special permits.
so speaking about in general, and my understanding is that for consistency, the commission would keep it in there. Yeah.
That was my concern, was that was missing. I thought it affected me personally. And like I said, you guys add warehouse. Frankly, I don't need the special permit anyway. Obviously, you guys can approve anything anyway or not. And as mentioned at the meeting, I have no intention to expand, nor do I have much real estate left. I'm just trying to protect my options for the future.
Naturally,
Totally.
they're a very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we recognize
Yeah, I can't expand it to my sister's backyard either. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now I apologize to you guys.
No, it's okay. You just had your glasses down.
No,
Very straight on. I make it clear that
No, and I don't,
I picked up on the
I'm sure-
tone and the
I don't know how
stare.
somebody would summarize what I was saying at the meeting anyway. I just was disappointed with it, but I'm sure with this.
You're fine. And you know, it's a good teaching moment because I realized in handing out a handout in the middle of a meeting, it's disconcerting. I would be in that same position.
Once I read it afterwards, I thought it was especially goofy because the answer to a lot of my questions was in the package.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's for all of us just to realize, like, do we have anything or do we have nothing?
If I had seen it ahead of time, I would have had 2 questions, you would have had an answer for them like that, so.
We'll get this in writing for you if the commission.
Yeah, we'll still
lets
work
it.
through it, but we just want to go through it.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
And your full letter will be part of our minutes
I appreciate it.
as presented. We can read it into the record or we can.
No. That's fine.
And, you know, I would, just on a, don't ask for forgiveness for asking, like, which, how we operate anyhow, but it's a smart decision. And, you know,
It's a good
we
one.
can't apologize for those in the past, but if I could, I would.
I understand.
And,
Well,
just,
it's not really proper of me to bring that up, but it's within famous in memory, let's put it that way. And it's long-standing grievance, my family.
completely understand that.
I had no idea what it meant, so I just
Yeah.
kept reading.
I was very happy to donate the money for the habitat.
Yeah. I did, and nonetheless, it's, just to ensure that we're in a different world today, at least through this.
I understand, I think we are too, yep.
Thank you so much. Other feedback on A, what we just covered, or B, the meeting as a whole? Do people, if we do move forward, I feel as though we would have to have another meeting would the people think that that environment is a good environment? Can you hear from people well enough? Is it a little bit?
I don't think you have a middle space. This is kind of too small. That was a little too big, but I don't, better too big than too small. I think.
Yeah,
Fire-
we did try the firehouse, so maybe what we could do next time, unfortunately on that date, they have training that night. So maybe we can make a special meeting off our regular meeting date to try to use that space, because I totally agree. I felt like it was.
Cavernous, yeah, it was big.
way too
Yeah.
big, you know, like-
Intimidating.
Although the overhead was nice.
Do you intend to have a discussion amongst the commission to finalize and make sure like all those industrial uses get defined before going back out?
Absolutely,
And then maybe with a circulated handout?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, got it.
probably another mailing to every property that's affected so they get another chance. I would have liked to have more people there, but I thought it was well attended considering that our attendance at things sometimes.
Why are you looking right at me?
I would, you know,
Because you weren't there.
so yeah, I would like to do more work on our end, get definitions, get a more final form, get it out. Kind of like final form to the public,
Got it.
have another public informational, if you will, or maybe we could call it do we need a special hearing anyhow?
We have
But
to-
I almost want to be overcautious and have, if anything, more meetings than not, just to make sure that we're not missing something, that as we try to neaten something up, we don't inadvertently monkey something else. We did have the property on the end of Beatty Hill that we need to put into our workshop. There was some
There were some mapping
questions or
concerns.
mapping on that lot.
Yeah.
Well, taxes for her as well. She's worried about.
And that, I'm glad you said taxes. So that's one of the things that's tough, right? Because this, I understand, I'm not the tax person, but you know, I felt this was right, and I did a little homework after, and I believe that I'm still right in that this really has no effect on tax. It's not gonna, being in a zone, you're not gonna increase a tax for being in this new zone. You're gonna be taxed on property, you're gonna be taxed
Right.
on business,
Improvement.
personal, and then taxed on improvements. You'll be taxed on vehicles or whatnot. But it's not gonna change because now there's a VRBZ compared to a village zone or RA or whatever. So I just didn't want to say it at that meeting because I wasn't 100%. I really have to talk with the tax department to know that, but it seems as though that I assumed I was right. I just didn't want to say it because
It's
then it
your
becomes
assets.
kind of like fact when I didn't do my
May-
due diligence.
Maybe to just have something in writing that's been sort of like reviewed by our assessor,
Yeah.
that she can say this is fact,
Yeah,
so that knowing she's not potentially going to be there at the meeting, because that could turn into a whole can of worms about taxes, and we're
Yeah.
planning
Oh,
and
good idea.
zoning,
Good.
but more so just so that she can make
Yeah.
sort of a general statement about by adoption of this zone, all of the
Yeah.
things you basically
yeah,
said.
that would be smart.
And maybe
Yeah,
even we've
in
got the
writing.
list of addresses, right? We've got the list of addresses, maybe it's what they are today. And then what they would be under, the new overlay, it's still a residential property, it's still a commercial property. This is how you would be taxed under how you're taxed today. This is how you would be taxed in the future, having that kind of documented to put people's mind at ease.
So hypothetically too, the whole idea is if we can develop business or economic development in a way that it'll impact the tax structure here, people should hypothetically be paying less,
Mhm.
right? I mean, that's the ultimate goal through the POCD is to
Mhm.
Correct.
make it affordable, make it reasonable for people and not keep raising them every year. So bring in some business, tax them as a business.
Yeah, and in
But-
essence, it's
Yeah.
a managed growth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But your point, I think, is probably accurate. I'm not the tax guy either, but that's not a business. You're sitting in a zone. You should,
Right, we're
Taxed on
not
your
zone
residential
taxed, right,
property.
we're not zone taxed, or,
Right.
individual tax or business tax or
We'll have to,
entity tax.
we'll have to
But-
clarify all that.
Yeah, I would, that's a great idea. I'll have,
In writing.
let's,
Yeah.
Kayla put something
Yeah,
together for us.
Yeah,
And then we can include that into a rollout packet of
Mhm.
next look. Timetable wise, I don't,
Good.
I think we have good solid foundation. So
I did not leaving that meeting, but maybe that's just,
you don't think we have a good foundation?
I didn't quite leave. I mean, I've been in many, many discussions in many, many different towns. And there are
It's just
situations
Falls Village.
where you're like, oh,
Right.
that was great. This is like really a congenial moment. I did not get that impression. Just
no one understood, not a word we were saying, they did not
okay,
understand.
yeah. Got it.
So we'll just take that and go forward. I mean, maybe because in my business, when I go to town meetings, people usually want it.
I think one thing is also it's not the forum for map issues. I think many,
We-
many times it's been noticed if there is a GIS mapping inadequacy, please to let us know. Because it's important that for accuracy for everyone that we update maps, but we can't, it's way beyond like, I don't update maps and put them on the land records,
Yeah.
nor does this commission.
Yeah.
So I think that we maybe try to head that off at the pass if possible.
And it's coming back to me now. I did reach out to Janelle the next morning and I want to publicly apologize to her because as chair of this commission, I felt that one of our townspeople went above what was proper conduct towards Janelle. So,
Well,
it's just,
sort of.
moving forward in that public sector, I will try to be more sensitive to keeping people on topic and, so I just want to say that out loud.
Oh, appreciated. That sort of
It may be part of it, but doesn't mean that it's okay.
custom.
Yeah. So anyway, with that being said,
The last thing I will say about the uniqueness of Falls Village this evening is as a town, I witnessed everyone do that pledge about civility, I believe, which is again unique to a municipality in which I serve. And I think sometimes it's fascinating the disparate, where you leave meetings thinking a little bit like it's discordant with what that pledge says. And it's probably not the first, might not be the last, but it's just as an observer facilitating a lot of the processes, I leave and I just am cognizant of that. Not a criticism, just sort of an observation.
yeah.
And just
And I think a lot of what I would have taken as discord out of that meeting would have really didn't fall anything to do with it was taxes and credentials and noise. I call it noise. So, and I'm maybe not affected by it as much as others, but it's just, to me, it's noise because it really doesn't have to do with what we're doing. So, but I think it's part of the course and I think everybody has the right to do it cordially. And if they want to bring it, that's just a little bit, it's kind of hard, I'm learning, but to chair a meeting but be kind of a presenter, but at the same time being I don't know how to say other than like a rule,
Moderator.
a moderator, yeah. So, anyhow, moving on. I think maybe if everybody's okay, we'll do like a work session. We should have time in August on our agenda.
We have the one re-subdivision hearing, which we pretty much reviewed tonight, and I think that's perfect for a work.
So we'll put on the agenda, but we'll still try to keep within our 2-hour meeting length time. And if we need to extend it out, we'll extend it out. There's no pressure to get this wrapped up and on the books, and we'll just stay, available. And if it's on our agenda, you'll see this on the agenda. If you care to join us, feel free. If you care to listen by Zoom, we're typically always Zoom, feel free. And again, if you have input, we're always.
Sounds
open
like
to
I have
hear it.
very little concern about it. I await the changes in the definitions that you guys can make or add or not, and I think that'll alleviate my concern.
Right. And
Thank you.
And if the commission is comfortable, I'd be happy to transmit that in writing via email, like this very moment, so that you have that in your inbox.
I'll take a motion for,
Put it on the spot.
so take a motion to, as Janelle read her response to Rich, to his written questions. Somebody wants to make that motion.
You lost me.
So Janelle has answered Rich's, questions are in writing.
Yeah.
Janelle had a proposed answer. So I'm looking to, for the commission to make a motion and take action to allow her to release her answers as presented.
Motion to allow Janelle to release the answers. Richard's question
As presented.
as presented tonight at this meeting, July 23rd, 2026 at 8:22 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Finally, we're in motion.
because I was still writing the first one.
Your neighbor made I made the motion.
Matt,
Mhm.
who's second?
Doug.
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 CCU then.
Am I that quiet, Pat?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Great.
CEO report.
I have copies. I think everyone also might have some. General cadence of permitting remains standard. So typically we're seeing like 2 permits about every month. More and more farm stands. So a garage permit and then a farm stand on Sand Road. So you may see some of those popping up around town, which is always nice to see. An opportunity for fresh items this time of year. Lots of inquiries. Getting a lot around just general inquiries about potential for subdivisions. I did have a site visit out on Route 63 recently, and then again, more inquiries involving farm stands and subdivision process. Just general title searches, asking questions around buildability of lots and whatnot. I do want to make note for those of you that don't frequent the town, there's a new building official and there's a new building official assistant. I don't know if that's his official title. John and Jonathan, not to get them confused. They do have office hours. I overlapped with them on Thursday. And I mean, if you happen to be in there in the town hall and you see a stranger, it could be our new building official. Their online permitting system, I believe, is operational for them, and it will soon be Permit Link for the zoning department as well. I do work with that system in other towns. It's relatively standard boilerplate. I'll work with the vendor to make sure that it's tailored for Falls Village. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to connect you if anything is needed with communication. Just let me know. And otherwise, the miscellaneous is the letters, and I don't want to jump to the official correspondence, but if anyone has further questions, please let me know. Has anyone met John and Jonathan?
Was there a correspondence with Habitat to be here tonight?
So there are 2 items. When we get to number 9, I was gonna get there
Okay.
or let the chair get there.
Was there emails or something that we should put in the record as well?
So the one that was,
Hold on.
yeah,
I'm not sure we're talking the same.
Yeah,
you're
I
saying
wouldn't-
Habitat. You're talking about the pre-application?
Yeah, just for.
There's just an email to be put on, but nothing on public record.
oh, are you talking about Habitat for Humanity
Yeah,
discussion?
just for tonight. I mean, it was a surprise to see it on the agenda. I was wondering if that had been a letter sent in or just an email sent, or
That
was
was
transmitted.
relatively succinct, and it could have been when I spoke with him. I don't even think it was anything that was in writing. It was over the phone with the re-subdivision review, is my understanding of how that.
So what he
got
sent
on.
was just the map and whatnot to keep.
So because it's a pre-application, we don't have, that's like a non-binding discussion with the commission. So that gives the applicant the right for it not to be anything that's like officially on the record.
Oh, that's why he
If
took
that's
his,
what-
took his.
I'm not
notes
sure
back.
what I'm not positive what your question was.
Well, just, to get on the agenda, there has to be a request or there has to be something made, right? It doesn't just appear on the agenda. So you had a conversation. It's not a big deal. I'm just trying to figure out if there's something that needs to go in the record. It's, all of this has been a little contentious, obviously, the last few
Yeah.
months. And I just think it makes sense.
Do you want it even added to the zoning report? Does that make more sense to you?
I don't know. I mean, does anybody else, what do you guys think? It was a surprise and
I
I'm
think he's
thinking
just saying
there had
that,
to have
yeah,
been
we
a
didn't know ahead of
communication.
time, so
I
it
mean,
had to
we
get on
barely
there.
knew ahead of
Yeah.
So,
time.
yeah, so I
Like,
think that's what Doug's
But I
trying to
mean,
get at, right?
let's take it and put it in a different hat and put it under a hat of something not been all contentious and somebody wanted to do a pre-application, which we have had a few times over the past couple of years. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to record on the record
Right.
under a different use, so you gotta kind of treat it as what it was, it's just a pre-application hearing. So, and besides not being.
so, yeah, I mean, I was in many
We're not trying to hide
discussions.
anything, obviously, I just don't know what we could put on the
Yeah, I'm
public
not
record.
No,
worried
no,
about that either. It's,
No, right, and I didn't mean to imply that, but I'm just saying, I don't think there's anything that to put on the public record that beyond what happened tonight. Other than the request was made to be put in the agenda
yeah.
I mean,
with-
in meeting
with
with
some
Pete
maps and whatnot.
for the re-subdivision application, which took probably 3 plan review meetings to get him near a complete application. The discussion was had, I'll be bringing maps regarding the habitat development to the meeting and want to be on the agenda as a pre-application. And that's the extent of it.
That's fine. I was just curious how we get there.
Yeah.
So,
And if you think for the public's knowledge that it should be added to the report, we certainly can do that. We're under no obligation to have a formal application before adding anything to the agenda, especially because it's a regular meeting.
right.
So,
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, it's up to you guys
Yeah.
if you want to do that to cover bases or whatever, but I don't think it's. I wasn't
I mean,
trying to
if
make
any-
anything out of this. I'm
No,
just
No.
curious how
If
we
anything
all.
under
how we
CEO,
get
but it's just a regular, other than I mean, until they. sent
until he walked
map,
in with that map.
I didn't really know what they were doing.
there.
I
Yeah,
didn't really know, I was,
it's all good.
guess we learned together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something that we definitely have some homework to do about, but we'll deal with it moving forward.
I imagine it will be on a future agenda.
Number 9?
Number 9. Public comment and official correspondence. So Randy, I know you might have something you've been patiently waiting to read.
Not so recently. I'm actually getting really hungry. So
You
yes,
could have taken your moment.
Janet or Jandy Hannah, 32 Main Street, Falls Village. And because I've sat and listened instead of doing this in the beginning, I have 2 other things I'd like to comment on. And besides saying thank you all for the work you do. But I've got to say, I really agreed with what Doug said about things being left on the agenda and not attended to. And I dearly hope someone will make a plan to have solar panels on the south side, which is the back of Lee Kellogg School. Be a perfect place to do it. And I don't know why I've been suggesting it for a long, long time and nobody's grabbed that and run with it. So time, but there are a lot of other towns that have done it. Second, I'm kind of astonished by something that happened here tonight, because we've got the guy who's doing the subcommittee on making sure the POCD happens here, which I respect. We've got the chair of the housing task force. And we've got a town that voted for that plan of conservation and development. So assuming that they're going to be negative response to volunteer organizations that are making your quotas for you, I don't think is healthy. I think we need to say, we've got to tell the people we're getting toward our quota of how many affordable houses. You know, I'm an advocate for affordable housing, but it seems so easy to turn that around and say, look how close we're getting to our, the state says 10%, I think in the POCD said 7%, but it doesn't have to assume that people will be angry about more habitat houses there. I don't think we should assume that. I don't think it's, as I said, healthy. I think we've got to turn it around and be positive about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay, here's my letter that I wrote, and this was written on July 18th to Greg and Janelle and all of you P&Z commissioners. I'm writing to clarify a couple events that occurred over the past 2 weeks before July 18th. After approximately 6 weeks of work at the River Road home site with no problems reported regarding the hours of work being, as agreed, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., a predicament began on Friday, July 3rd. Apparently, our subcontractor, SRC Construction, did not have any workers for the holiday weekend, so a local subcontractor was hired to continue the clearing and chipping. As eventually became clear, SRC neglected to inform him of the working hours restrictions, so he worked until approximately 7 p.m., despite the protestations of some neighbors who actually trespassed in order to tell him that he should not be there. I was unaware of the noise problem until noticing a few complaining phone messages and texts. I did not choose to respond to the messages due to their discourteous nature. I did follow up by meeting with a subcontractor the next day to inform him of the hours limitations, 75. He was uncertain whether he should follow his agreement with SRC or to follow my request, but he did stop his chipper at 5:15 that evening, and he left the site shortly thereafter. Later that evening, we were hit with the 4th of July storm. It is my understanding that the following work week, during which we cleared up the miscommunication with SRC, and they took responsibility for the lack of appropriate communication, that it was without problems of noise after hours until Friday, July 10th, when work stopped at 5 p.m. as usual. However, after 9, I received angry voice messages from 2 neighbors informing me that someone was running machinery at the River Road home site. Upon inquiring, I eventually discovered that the local contractor had a need to move a vehicle for clearing storm damage the next day at a different site. So he just come to get his vehicle. He was interpreting working very literally. I want to take this opportunity to apologize to the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Lime Rock Station neighbors for a regrettable and unintended slip in following the working hours conditions agreed to in the October of 2020 site plan approval process. There was, of course, no purposeful disrespect meant to the neighbors. So that's for you.
Yeah,
I have that, don't I? Okay, I think Janelle forwarded it to me.
So just a thought as the project continues and the site work. So my understanding is it's just the preliminary site work for the infrastructure at this point in time, and that there's no zoning permit for the structures.
Correct.
Yeah. In the event when we get to the point where there is the subsequent step, projects of this size very typically will have a check-in with the CEO and the construction team in the field to discuss the parameters of the conditions of the project as a liaison for the Planning and Zoning Commission, because that was a condition that they placed on a project. It helps to get the on-site contact of the contractor who's sort of your point person in the field. And it helps just so that the conditions are communicated by a town official to the people performing the work. And then what sometimes is often helpful is monthly check-in on-site meetings where you just go out with the site plans as the CEO and just check in with who's in the field, make sure they all have their site plans, make sure they don't have any questions, to just ease the process of the construction. So if questions come up, if you get a question posed by, unfortunately, I'm sure you get them all the time when you're out and about in town, that then you can push them to the official channel, the P and Z that approved the project, so that they can verify with the plans, send me out in the field, and that we can just move along.
So just so I'm clear about this, I think this is great, and it wouldn't be difficult to comply with that at all.
Yeah.
So we do have meetings with them, and so it would be, rather than set up extra meetings, would you be open to being invited to these
It's
meetings?
very helpful to have a town official that has construction management on-site experience
Mhm.
to verify that the plan that this commission approved is being built throughout the process.
Right. So we could invite you to those meetings, but also it sounds like for now we're fine, but when we have our next,
I mean,
Huh.
anytime, honestly,
Okay.
I see that as the role of a town official.
okay,
There's many
The more the
towns.
better for this project, in my opinion.
It can
Okay.
take, it
There's no
might,
downside.
the way that I'm thinking it through, it will take the heat off of various organizations, whether it's you representing the Falls Village Housing Trust, whether it's the poor subcontractor that came in to do his job,
Right.
whether it's,
and it wasn't his fault that the person at the construction company who's in charge of hiring
it
subcontractors
happens.
didn't think to
It-
tell him the
it
time.
happens.
It
every day
happens.
of
It
construction.
happens. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to big projects.
Yeah.
Right,
And
and as the project gets bigger and there's more and more subcontractors, right, there's always gonna be a breakdown in communications.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be that if there are working hours, that there's some signage posted on site that says, here's your working hours. Whether the general contractor communicates with a subcontractor or not, the message is there on site. Your working
That's good,
hours
yeah.
are blank to blank.
Yeah,
And
that's a good idea.
oftentimes I advise contractors to close off the site when they're done for the day as a safety concern so that there cannot be these moments of trespass. Just with whether it's a row of hay bales, and I know people know how to step over hay bales and rope, but just a visible sign,
Very clear.
private property,
Yeah.
construction, do not enter.
They have something they call mafia blocks.
I know them well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not the ones they tie to your shoes.
yeah.
They're bigger.
But and again, as far as maybe how people choose words, trespassing compared to maybe a neighbor trying to express their concerns could be kind of turned a little bit and softened to show
Well,
manners both directions, I would
We-
say.
there have been several incidents of trespassing. We
Are
have
there-
not,
are
we
there-
have not gone,
Are there posted signs?
yes.
There's-
Well, not as many as there used to be because a lot of those trees have come down that had the signs on them. So,
I'm
no,
just saying, just,
no one has,
choosing words.
nobody has jumped on the people who trespass.
I'm just
Nobody
saying.
has jumped on the person who tried to keep a delivery from happening.
Yeah.
Nobody has gone there. It's small potatoes. We don't want to, and that's why it seemed so unfair when it was very caustic on my telephone.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, it was,
And the more
too
that we
much
can
too soon.
implement these ideas and Janelle doing her role that she's very highly trained professional in, it's gonna soften that and give just another set of eyes.
Well, I think it will
Help.
also just keep everybody informed as to what's
Yeah.
happening there. So that's very good. I'm glad that that came out of this, even though it's not really connected, but it's very important for me to know that. And I appreciate the other suggestion too. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to answer?
Two quick
There was-
ones, not waste a lot of your
John, you
time.
go ahead and then I'll read both of them.
Yeah, public comment.
Where?
Hello?
You sent mine to
Hold on,
John.
wait a minute,
Oh,
Cole.
I'm sorry.
Nope,
No.
go ahead.
No, Rick, you go ahead.
I found an error on one of my plots. I wasn't sure who to report it to, so I sent it to the town clerk. I know it's probably not her ability to change it either. Where should I send it?
So our assessor, Kayla, is the first point person, and
Okay.
if you wanna copy me, I'm happy to help. If it's more of like a zoning, if it's like a more of like a tax
My lawn is actually
thing.
listed as belonging to CLMP up on BB Road, the Warren Turnpike. So I don't want you guys, I know you're charging me direct taxes because I just paid them. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm sure it's just a computer error. You mentioned that the special zoning meeting, that there was
Yeah.
inconsistencies. Like
So I know Kayla has been sort of the point person
Okay.
with our vendor, and then for whatever reason, if you want, just for
I'll CC, I'll report it to her.
in writing sake, happy to be on that, because I do interface with the vendor
Great.
often, and he's really good, so.
I'm sure it's just like,
There's some weird mismatch errors.
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, and my last thing so far is the firehouse. I would question if any of the original people were considered that have made bids in the past, where they gone back to and asked if they still have interest. I know that Dave Jacobs' proposed use for the property was perhaps not what the town is looking for. However, the bird in the hand is sometimes worth more than the two in the bush. You have a guy who could probably use the building without a bathroom, with the lift in it for his garage. You might share the parking lot with the town. I would suggest, since he was one of the original bidders, that as longstanding town business, he be consulted again and asked him if you had any interest in it. So that would be my only comment there.
Thank you. Coulter, I'm gonna read your letter.
Thank you, Greg.
On July 23rd, we received a letter from, I'm sorry, 22nd, Wednesday, July 22nd, and Coulter asking for this to be read onto the record. Dear PNC, on numerous occasions in the last few weeks, my neighbors and I noticed that there was work being done after 5 p.m. 2 or 3 times we walked over and requested they stop. The main culprit said to me, maybe you stop work on your property at 5, but I don't stop work here. Clearly, he had been uninformed of the hours that we had all mandated. On 2 or 3 occasions, I called Jandy Hannah and suggested that she take action. When there was no action taken, perhaps my phone calls became more emphatic. So be it, we all have to navigate rough waters on occasion. But me and my neighbors were not happy about the situation. Once the workers begin ending at 5, I sent a thank you to Ms. Hannah. Ms. Hannah and her organization may not know this, but some 3 weeks ago, I was riding my bicycle down to West Cornwall, and there was a semi-truck loaded with a bulldozer stuck at the covered bridge. As I am fire police in Falls Village, I offered help. The gentleman driving the truck said, I'm looking for River Road. I immediately knew what he was talking about. Clearly, his GPS had taken him the wrong way, and I suggested he should not cross the covered bridge with a 40-ton load. He agreed. I offered my help. I loaded my bike on his trailer, hopped in the cab, and directed him to Route 43, then Johnson Road, Route 7, and then to the Lime Rock Station, where I delivered him and his truck to the job site across the street from my house. Now you know I am an always willing, helpful participant, understanding, intelligent, and cooperative. Please read my comments into the record on Thursday's PNC meeting. I cannot attend as I am at a Housatonic River Commission meeting. Thank you very much, Coulter Rule. So Coulter, it has been read and
Yeah.
submitted.
Thank you, Greg.
The meeting.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, is there video? When will the video of this meeting be released?
I don't know that. Patty,
It
do you know
usually
that?
takes a couple of days.
Great,
Couple
Patty.
days.
That's all I need to know. Great job, guys. I really thank you for all you're doing, and thanks for reading my letter, et cetera, et cetera. Have a good evening. I'm out of here.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you all.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Anything further? without there being any motion to adjourn at 8:46. We are running a little late, but we've covered a lot of ground.
So I.
Doug, is there a second?
Second,
Eileen, all in favor?
aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, Mark.
Good night, Mark.
Janelle, did I get a copy of, Holker's letter?
Oh, I have all of these links. There you are. Did you need